Welcome back to the Football Kingdom podcast. I am Tyler Mallon, and I'm solo again. We're just a solo pod now. That's what this is. Football Kingdom. Every other week, you just get one guy now. That's all we are. No, Brandon is in a deep mind state with the Royals, who are in a playoff battle with the New York Yankees. And I can't blame him because he's a huge baseball fan, so am I. Make it super hard to watch the Royals on non-cable. But, yeah, that's where Brandon's mind is right now. And the Royals will be back home in a playoff game in 2024. Tomorrow, actually. So, hopefully, it'll be Brandon and I on the next episode. Actually, probably not, because I might be across the country. So you might get Brandon next week as well, solo. But yeah, let's talk this week, man. Week 5, Chiefs, Saints, at Arrowhead. As Nick Wright would say, and so do I, a no-doubter. Give me a break with these people picking the Saints over the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Even when it's like constant talk about, Rice's injury and where he's going to be. Very weird, by the way. Let's just talk about that for a second, because it's like, goodness, can we just say if he's hurt or not? I think what's going on this time, because I've never seen a player, get talked about more when they don't even announce what his injury is and how long he's going to be out. I think this is actual special circumstances, because they just didn't know the extent of his injuries, and there was even talk of like career-ending type stuff. But they had to kind of get in there and take a look at exactly what the heck was going on. So they just weren't ready to be like, okay, here's what's going on. And so kind of makes sense that they're like, all right, we're going to play close to the vest on what we think it is, because he got like multiple opinions on the knee, because I just find it very strange that here we are and we're like a week later and we don't even know what the heck is going on. So his actual injury was a successful LCL surgery with Dr. Cooper, and will miss the remainder of the regular season. Full recovery is expected. They also did a repair to his hamstring tendon. But yeah, no ACL or meniscus. So I don't really know what that means. Not a doctor, but apparently that's better than the ACL. But it's still like a 6-month thing, and he's definitely done for the season. With the whole suspension, who the heck knows? We might not even see this guy until week 5 of next year. So, anyway, it still didn't really have me worried that the Chiefs were going to somehow struggle against this Saints team. Okay? Like I said last week, it truly is, when the Chiefs say next man up, they mean it. Unlike other teams who is like, hey, man, this is a next man up mentality. It's like, okay, that's nice to say. It doesn't really work out that way. With the Chiefs, you believe it, because you've got Kareem Hunt and Juju Smith-Schuster making plays. Those are 2 top players in this game that won the Chiefs game. Now, of course, it's still Kelsey, but he never left the team. But it's like, what year is it? You've got teams, or the Chiefs team looking like it's 3 years ago. But yeah, Kareem Hunt, let's start with him. He's slow, but he's awesome. Like he doesn't have these huge bursts of speed. He has a little bit of burst, like he still has these little chunk speeds. He's not like the first play of the game, for the Chiefs. I was like, oh boy, like he looked like he's running through mud versus everybody else. But into the game, man's got, 27 attempts for 100 yards and 1 catch for 15. We'll take that. 100 yards rushing, and he just kind of like bobs and weaves through the defense. And that's all the Chiefs need right now. You have a running game. The reason why is the offensive line is so good. You put anybody back there, they're probably going to be successful right now. The offensive line for the Chiefs has always been good, and I'm talking for the past like 20 years. They just always somehow have like a really solid offensive line that can create a really good run game. Whether that translated to a passing game back in the day, that wasn't always the case, but that falls more on the quarterback. The Chiefs have always had a really good running back who could probably play with any line, but I think in this case, it's more the line can just open up holes, and the running back has to kind of follow the game plan, and everything works. So when I was watching the Manning cast, that's what they said. If the Chiefs get the running game, it's over. They establish the run, the passing game's going to open. This kind of goes to my other point of like the Saints had no chance from the beginning. The Chiefs, once you start playing from behind against the Chiefs, it's like everything, your whole game plan goes out the window. Watching the Chiefs play, it's like that every single week. To me, it's kind of the analogy of like, you have a plan until you get punched in the mouth, that kind of thing. It's every team talks this big game, and all the analysts are like, oh, we're picking the Saints over the Chiefs, and then this happens. They start playing against Mahomes in the passing game, and now their whole thing is like, we're playing from behind, we have to play catch up, we have to change our whole game plan. And it's crazy. It's like you see it every single week against the Chiefs. And that's why I have it's always a relaxed, watch like every single week. Now obviously they've had some games this year where it comes down to the wire, but for the most part, teams still play them the same. They don't really know what to do, when they're playing. They just are always kind of playing from behind, and they throw their whole game plan out. And again, that kind of goes to the defense. I'm jumping all over the place, but here we go. Defense was dominating. Okay, really, what you do against, Derek Carr, get in his face, and he's gonna you just put pressure on him. He doesn't know what to do. He's just throwing up bombs. His second throw, I think, of the game was the chuck up to. I think he was trying to throw it out of bounds, but who's our boy? Brian Cook makes an incredible grab. I was shocked. And you're like, okay, if the ball is that up in the air for that long and Brian Cook can make that grab, what are the Saints receivers doing out there? Like, what are we doing? Makes that grab, barely gets touchdown, or he would have made a 60-yard kind of interception and been on like the 3. But he was out of bounds. But yeah, that's kind of how you play Derek Carr. And I can't believe it continues to work, but no teams have answers to it. Spags throws the defense at you. It's like, hey, listen, I'm going to rush everybody, and I'm going to have one guy more than you, and your quarterback is screwed. And that's what happened on his last play of the game, Derek Carr, when he got injured. He threw it up. His receiver probably should have caught that ball in the fourth quarter, but, you put that pressure on him, and that's what's going to happen. You're not going to make the most accurate throws, but the Chiefs are just so dominating. Chris Jones is, I think, trying to get a Defensive Player of the Year award. It's like, oh, we've won so many Super Bowls now. What can I do? Like, how do I cure this boredom and just find something to play for here? I mean, this dude is trying really hard. I think he's trying to get his sack numbers up. That's probably what he's wanting, because a few weeks ago they took a sack away from him, and he's just still playing out of his mind. He gets paid, and he's still playing to the height of his ability, which is just great to see. They're still hungry. Everybody continues to count the Chiefs out, and continues to pick against them whenever it's like, yeah, I kind of get it from an outsider's point of view. You don't have your best players on the field. Pacheco's gone, Rice is gone, next man up, guy off the street. Kareem Hunt is like, okay, I looked basically hurt and slow and sluggish when I was on the Browns, and now I'm back in. And that's amazing. Like, he's just like, I'm going to come win a Super Bowl with the Chiefs now. And he's going to play, to the height of his ability, which is what you want from your guys. Whistle to whistle is how they say. So, yeah. So I did watch the Manning cast broadcast of this, which is so much fun. Bill Belichick just constantly like, you can't keep letting Mahomes step up in the pocket and evade. It's like you have to contain him in the pocket or he's going to do this all night. And I think Bill said that like 3 times in the first quarter. He's just like watching, sitting at home, like not coaching a team. And he's like, this is so easy. It's like super frustrated of like, just put him in the pocket. Don't let him escape. He starts doing his Mahomes stuff, and this was a classic, Mahomes game where he's escaping, evading the pocket, and, just making some of the greatest plays, you're seeing out of the guy. Still gets, he goes air Mahomes in the fourth quarter, jumping way ahead, but yeah, they had, like, okay, well, let's run the clock out, and they're still throwing the ball. I love to see that, man. Like, don't let your foot off the gas. Keep putting the pressure on. And quite honestly, like, whenever Derek Carr threw up the last touchdown, like early in the fourth quarter, the game felt over at that point. And then they missed the extra point. Jumped a little ahead. Right before that, the Juju interception. My goodness. Kalen Saunders coming back to haunt the Chiefs. It's a slant play to Juju. Kind of, bobbles it, gets thrown up. Kalen Saunders was not fooled. The dude has played against this offense for many years, so I think he knew exactly what was going on, and he kind of just saw that play happening, so he backed up rather than try to stop the run, and was there for a ridiculous thick pick, as they kept calling it, and caught the ball, went down to like the 35. My God, I think they clocked him at like 15 miles per hour. A dude that big, it's like, yeah, these guys are crazy athletes, but that sets up that touchdown. Big, wide open bomb down the field. And again, it felt over. They missed their extra point. They only score 6. The next play of the Chiefs, right back to Juju Smith-Schuster, 50 yards, to go score again. So at that point, game was pretty much done. But early in the game, Kelsey, it was like classic, okay, this is one of those Kelsey nights. It's a Monday night game, prime time at Arrowhead. The first like 2 or 3 plays, and I was like, this is a Kelsey night right here. This is what we're gonna get, and it's like he's back. And of course, that's what I've been saying all season. It's week 5, and I'm like, he's fine. Everybody was doubting him, and he's old, he's washed, he's hurt, whatever. It's like, no, I'm not buying it. Continue to have, to ride that train of like, Kelsey's fine, and he's going to continue to have these games when they need him to. But unfortunately, the Chiefs still have their kind of red zone troubles. They kicked a lot of field goals, and I think this is a perfect time to go into the bye week to say, okay, let's work on the red zone. I think we've got everything else kind of figured out, still work on some things and make up some new plays, but what are we going to do when we get close to the red zone? Because I think what the Chiefs normally do is when they get to like the 40 or 35, now they're in the red zone and they've got kind of touchdown plays that they want to run. And then when they get super close, they're like, it's gadget time. And it's super frustrating to watch. Can we just maybe run a normal play? Like, I get the slant play to Juju was a pretty normal red zone. You're on the 5-yard line. Let's try to throw a touchdown pass. The problem is, when you throw it that high, you get that kind of play. Everybody's been saying that was like the Seattle versus Patriots loss. When you've got Marshawn, beast mode, Lynch, you run the damn ball, and you put the Super Bowl away against the Tom Brady-led Patriots. But you throw an interception. Maybe instead of that type of play, do run that play. Why not? Just do that, but throw it lower. I don't think I've ever seen a slant to the middle of the field where you actually throw it down. And because there was a play in the Super Bowl last year where it was Kelsey, and they throw it to the pylon, and it's a slant out, to the sideline, and it's that little play where only that, receiver can catch it. So, Juju's got the guy behind him. Throw it low where only he can get it, and if it does get kind of bobbled, it's hopefully on the ground, not thrown up into the air where a big D lineman can catch it. So, I don't know. Seems like they could try some other things. That to me, I'm like, if you're going to run a, quote, normal play, in the red zone, not these weird gadget plays, because they tried the pitch to Kelsey. I can't wait for them to run that again and fake it, because everybody's going to be like, oh, it's the underarm pitch to Kelsey, and it's right up the gut, and we're all going to converge on that, and Mahomes keeps it this time and throws it out to somebody on one of the two corners. As soon as I saw that play fail, I was like, okay, we got to stop running that play. Everybody knows it's coming, because he was stopped, like halfway to the end zone. It was like 4 yards. I think he gained 2 or something. Yeah, I'm foreseeing, hopefully, that they kind of say, okay, now we're going to fake this play and go to somebody else. So the Chiefs go to week 6, is their bye week. Time to rest up, be smart, and plan for the San Francisco 49ers. Who they're back to, who the heck is this team? Every single year, we said it in the preview, the AFC preview episodes that we did before the season, and we're like, there's nothing else to say about this team. The 49ers should win Super Bowls. They have everything that they could need. Today, the Jets announced that they fired their head coach, Robert Saleh. I think I'll wait to talk a little bit about that because I want to talk to Brandon about that kind of stuff. But Brandon's not buying, the Aaron Rodgers experience. And I think, Saleh just never really kind of had the team. I think he's probably a pretty good coach, but I think they fired the wrong guy. I think you get Nathaniel Hackett out of there. The point I'm trying to make with the Niners here is the Niners have a really good coaching staff, one of the best. Okay, there's no question. And they have, again, the deepest team in the league by far. Now, they've got a lot of injuries, but are you kidding me? If Mahomes had these receivers, and even if they were going down and he still had, their bench guys, Mahomes does not have Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel to throw to. Okay? He's throwing to Juju Smith-Schuster, and Noah Gray. Okay? Now, their playmakers are still, stepping up. Obviously, Kelsey and, Juju is coming back. But he's got, Mecole Hardman and Jordy Fortson and Sky Moore. Now, these guys aren't making, huge plays, but Xavier Worthy's a rookie. Samaje Perine comes, out of nowhere, and they're making it work. Okay, that's obviously better coaching because, I don't know, the point I think I'm making here is, the Niners don't have an excuse here, and they're 2-3. And I think in a much, weaker division, or conference. So I don't know. I think we'll probably come back with a preview episode. If we can't get together, maybe I'll jump back on here and give you a little preview of that game. But yeah, because I kind of want to see where the San Francisco, it's after they play Seattle in week 6. Kind of see how their game comes up because they just lost to the Cardinals. All right, didn't watch that game, but it seemed like that was mostly in the bag, and then something happened and they lost by 1 point. All right, so to be fair, Chiefs probably could be 2-3 or 2 and whatever, but they aren't. They've come through and they've won when it matters, but we'll see how they play against them, and hopefully this off week isn't too early for them because they've got another, the rest of the season with the Chiefs isn't, super hard, but to have that kind of an early, bye week isn't that great either. But, yeah, we will talk to you next time. Might do a preview. If not, we will see you after the San Francisco game.